Yo, how's it going, everybody? I'm Akeem Lawanson filling in for Stella Chung, and this is the Weekly Fix, the show where we round up all the gaming and entertainment headlines you may have missed this week. And we have a packed show for you featuring an update on The Elder Scrolls 6, what's next for Zelda, news on Season 2 of HBO's The Last of Us, and finally, what would happen if you placed 20,000 potatoes, space potatoes, in a ship's cockpit in Starfield? Yeah, I've been wondering the same thing too. Let's get to it.
Way back in the pre-pandemic era, E3 2018 to be exact, Bethesda teased the next installment of the Elder Scrolls franchise. The Elder Scrolls 6 was announced via a simple trailer that showcased, well, not a whole lot. But it was enough for fans to start speculating on where and when the game will take place. 5 years after that teaser, we finally got some kind of official news from Bethesda. And no, sorry, it's not a new trailer or confirmation on the game's setting or anything related to the story. Via Spanish language gaming site Vandal and translated by Reset Era user Shoot, Bethesda's Pete Hines was asked about the Elder Scrolls 6 and if fans will hear more about it after Starfield's launch. Hines said, quote, "We have put all of our studio's focus on making this game the best it can be. And yes, there are people working on the Elder Scrolls 6, but this is what the studio has focused on. So no, you are not going to hear soon about the Elder Scrolls 6. Starfield is our focus for now, and it's going to remain our priority for a while before we talk about anything else," end quote. He also confirmed that the game is out of the pre-production phase, saying, quote, "It's in development, but it's in early development." So that's great news, I guess. Bethesda's got people working on it, which is better than nothing, and it makes sense that Starfield is the company's focus, considering the massive amount of press and marketing the game's been getting. Also, Bethesda's track record of published games since the Microsoft acquisition has been a little rocky. The Xbox exclusive Redfall was a dud upon launch, but they scored some hits with the well-received multi-platform games like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. There's a lot riding on Starfield's success, and possibly more riding on the Elder Scrolls 6, considering it'll be the follow-up to one of the best-selling games of all time, Skyrim. So maybe take your time with this one, Bethesda.
All right, now this morning's Nintendo Direct was short and sweet. 15 minutes of wonderful details on Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Now we got a new trailer, a look at Prince Florian of the Flower Kingdom, and a slightly horrifying new Bowser that's basically a giant floating head. Now the game takes place in the Flower Kingdom, which is spread over 7 different areas. Now, as is standard for a Mario game, each area is themed differently. You got water levels, fire levels, snow levels. You get the idea. Very, very thematic there. Now, the game gives you a little bit of freedom in choosing the level you want to play. Now, once you unlock an area, you may come across open areas where you can tackle the individual levels in any order you like. Now, Mario Bros. Wonder features a host of playable characters, including Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, a bunch of Toads, a few Yoshis, and Nabbit, that weird rabbit character from Super Mario Bros. U who's always stealing stuff. You remember him. Anyways, the human characters plus the Toads all play the same, but the Yoshis have a flutter jump ability, and they, along with Nabbit, take no damage. Yeah, no damage at all. Now you can still lose a life by falling though. Now of course, there are power-ups including the ability to turn into an elephant, which we've already seen, and the new bubble and drill forms. Now for the bubble form, you don't turn into a giant bubble, but you can shoot bubbles that are useful for, this is weird, people play this shit? For bubble form, you don't turn into a giant bubble, but you can shoot bubbles that are useful for more than just attacking enemies. Now, drill form gives you a hat with a drill on it that lets you burrow underground or drill into the ceiling. Yeah, that's exciting stuff. Not my favorite looking form, but it makes Mario look like a cutesy version of the tunneler puppet from Puppet Master. There's nothing cute in that movie. Those are just a few of the details revealed during today's Direct. We've got a more in-depth preview live on IGN if you want to learn more. I know you want to learn more because you're probably just as big of a Mario fan as I am. Can you hear it in my voice just how excited I am to talk about Mario? I love plumbers. Anyways, in other news, it's a sad day for Volition Games, the developers of the Red Faction and Saints Row games. Now, the company has confirmed the studio is shut down effective immediately. Now, in an update on LinkedIn, Volition said, quote, "This past June, Embracer Group announced a restructuring program to strengthen Embracer and maintain its position as a leader in the video game industry. As part of that program, they evaluated strategic and operational goals and made the difficult decision to close Volition effective immediately. To help our team, we are working to provide job assistance and help smooth the transition for our Volition family members. We thank our customers and fans around the world for all the love and support over the years. You will always be in our hearts." Embracer Group, Volition's parent company, has previously announced plans to shut down studios and cancel games following a $2 billion deal that fell through. Now, according to Axios, the deal was reportedly with the Saudi government-funded Savvy Games Group. Now, Embracer still has several high-profile studios in their portfolio, including Crystal Dynamics and Gearbox Software. Now, Volition started as Parallax Software in 1993, the developers of the Descent series. Now, they would go on to make the space combat game Free Space, the RPG Summoner, and the cult favorite FPS Red Faction. Now, they also dabbled in open-world action with the hugely successful Saints Row games. Now, recently, Volition attempted a reboot of the Saints Row series last year, which was met with tepid reviews. And unfortunately, it won't be the only studio closing under Embracer. Mimimi Games of Shadow Tactics and Desperado 3 fame will be closing down over the next few months. Now, we wish all those affected by these studio closures the best of luck out there. Now, in an exclusive interview with Entertainment Weekly, Neil Druckmann gives us an update on Season 2 of HBO's The Last of Us series. Now, while walking through the Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights maze based on the video game, the director talked about where they are with the live-action series amidst the ongoing actors and writers strike. He also updates fans on what to expect next from Naughty Dog in the video games category. Quote, "We outlined all of Season 2 and we're ready to go as soon as the strike ends. As far as the next game at Naughty Dog, I can't say anything. My comms director over there will slaughter me." Well, fans are ready to slaughter more clickers, so an update on what we can expect next from The Last of Us in games would be nice. Now, The Last of Us multiplayer game has been in development since 2020, with Neil Druckmann unveiling a bit more information about the game back in 2022 at Summer Games Fest. Now, as for the upcoming season of The Last of Us on HBO, it's great to hear that it's all outlined and ready to go, but the main question a lot of fans have is who will play the main antagonist in the upcoming season. Like, fans of the video game are very familiar with the character Abby. And while there's been speculation as to who might be cast in that particular role, showrunner Craig Mazin confirmed back in June that no one has been cast to play the character just yet. And with the ongoing strikes, casting and shooting for the next season will have to be postponed until an agreement is reached. Now, season 1 of The Last of Us filmed in Canada, July 2021 to June 2022, a whole year of production so that the series could benefit from the seasonal changes in weather. So if we're looking at a similar timeline as the previous season, it's likely we won't see things go into production until maybe early 2024. Hopefully things will get smoothed out by then regarding the Hollywood strike. Now, let's hope that they shoot seasons 2 and 3 back-to-back so the wait between each isn't as lengthy. Now, of course, you can count on us here at IGN to keep you posted when more news breaks on the HBO The Last of Us series. In other zombie-related news, and speaking of the strikes, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon series is set to resume production after AMC and SAG-AFTRA negotiations. Now, according to Deadline, AMC has secured an interim agreement for The Walking Dead spin-off series to resume filming during the ongoing actors' strike. The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live and Interview with the Vampire also have permits to resume filming. Now, good on AMC for, meeting with SAG-AFTRA and coming to an agreement. The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon is the 5th Walking Dead spin-off series, believe it or not, already renewed for a second season. Season 1 of the series kicks off September 10th. And finally, The Flash just can't seem to get any motion anywhere. Now, the Ezra Miller starring DC movie debuted on Max streaming with fewer viewers than the Black Adam movie. 1.1 million US households watched it in 2 days after it debuted. Now, Black Adam had 1.2 million watchers in the same time frame. Now, both of those DC movies performed lower than expected at the box office, so it's honestly no surprise that their streaming numbers are just as low. Now here's hoping whatever James Gunn has planned with the DCU kicks things up a notch, and we'll see some awesome things coming forward in the future. All right, it's time for us to take a very quick break, but when we come back, we've got news on what's next for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the release date for the PlayStation Portal, and an update on the next live-action Pokemon TV show. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the Weekly Fix. Now, we finally got an update on what's next for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And let me tell you, it's bittersweet. But before we get to that, Sony announced the release date for the extremely affordable and practical PlayStation Portal. And we also have an update on what's next for Rick and Morty. Let's check it out. Sony has announced that its brand spanking new PlayStation Portal streaming handheld will launch November 15th with pre-orders open right now. Now, the PlayStation Portal, not to be confused with the PlayStation Portable, aka the PSP, is a streaming-only handheld device that allows you to connect to your PlayStation 5 via remote play and access your library of games wherever you have a stable enough internet connection. Announced on the PlayStation blog, Sony revealed the PlayStation Portal will be released in select markets on the November date. Now, these are presumably the same countries the device is currently available to pre-order in: the United States, UK, France, Germany, Austria, Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. Yeah, those are all the places. Now, right now, you can only pre-order the Portal through PlayStation Direct, Sony's official in-house online store. But if it's anything like PlayStation VR 2, Sony will eventually open the market up to sell the Portal at retail stores and other select online outlets. Now, the PlayStation Portal retails for $199.99. That's $200, and features an 8-inch LCD screen, haptic feedback, and adaptive triggers, and has roughly the same battery life as a DualSense controller. And we've got a hands-on preview of the Portal over on IGN and YouTube, so go check it out if you want to know if this new PlayStation sort of portable thing is right for you.
Nintendo has said it has no plans to release downloadable content for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and is already moving on to a brand new game in the series. In an interview with Famitsu, Eiji Aonuma, producer of Tears of the Kingdom, ruled out additional content for the Nintendo Switch exclusive. He said, "There are no plans to release additional content this time, but that's because I feel like we've done everything we can to create fun in that world." It's a surprising decision, considering the enormous success Tears of the Kingdom has enjoyed critically and commercially. It sold 18.5 million units as of June 30th, just a month and a half after its release. That's more than half the total sales of its predecessor, Breath of the Wild, which has shifted 30.5 million. It's also surprising given Breath of the Wild did receive downloadable content in the form of an expansion pass that added the likes of Master Mode, Heroes Path Mode, Trials, and new items. Then again, the earliest ideas for Tears of the Kingdom were intended to be Breath of the Wild DLC, but thankfully, the developers got a little carried away, and the end result was a certifiable masterpiece. Based on comments in the Famitsu interview, it sounds like Nintendo is now thinking about the next Zelda game instead of Tears of the Kingdom DLC. However, Aonuma did not rule out a return to the Hyrule of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, potentially setting up a third game. He said, "In the first place, the reason I decided to make this a sequel to the previous work was because I thought there was value in experiencing a new game in that Hyrule place. If that's the case, if a new reason arises, we might return to the same world again. Whether it's a sequel or a new work, I think it's going to be a completely new game, so I hope you're looking forward to it." Director Hidemaru Fujibayashi also chimed in with his own comment, "We are very grateful that so many customers have been playing Tears of the Kingdom for so long and deeply, so we will do our best to make the next game even more enjoyable." For reference, in between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo released Cadence of Hyrule, the Link's Awakening remake, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and Skyward Sword HD. So, time will tell if the next Zelda release is a mainline game, a spin-off, or a remake. Moving on, if you're hoping to go into Mortal Kombat 1 fresh when it launches on September 14th, you might want to tread carefully across the internet. physical copies appear to have made their way into the hands of eager players. Note that I won't be spoiling anything here. We're reporting that the leaks have happened, but not sharing the actual leaked info. MP first reported on one player who obtained the Nintendo Switch version of the upcoming fighting game and uploaded images showing the launch roster of playable characters as well as the available cameo or support characters. We're not sharing the images here or revealing the unannounced characters in the pictures, but if you're impatient to find out who's there day one, the information is out there. It seems further leaks are coming, as the person in question even uploaded a video of the game running on Nintendo Switch to Reddit.
A World of Warcraft guild suffered a betrayal of the highest degree while attempting the game's final raid. Reset Era user Nijaboy hosted a YouTube video from user Calamity, who was part of a guild playing WoW in hardcore mode, which features permadeath. If you die in hardcore, your character is gone, totally deleted. According to Nijaboy, the guild would have likely had to grind levels in WoW for about a year in order to take on the final boss raid, which features the 4 horsemen. When they started the run, it was guild member Tiny Violin's job to taunt one of the horsemen away from the main group while they ganged up on another. Tiny Violin ends up taunting the horsemen into the group, and they suffer a series of enemy debuffs and attacks that very quickly wipe out half of the group. In the end, 36 members of the guild were killed. Again, this is hardcore mode, so those characters are gone forever. It's unclear how long Tiny Violin had been playing with this guild, but either way, it would have taken the guild as a whole a long time to be at the right levels to take on this raid. I guess this is a lesson for all of us. Trust no one.
Now we're just days away from the release of Netflix's One Piece, and we've got the final trailer to take a look at. Now, in the trailer posted by Netflix, we see a slew of characters One Piece fans will recognize, like the villainous Arlong, a young Kobe, and of course, the entire Straw Hat Pirates crew. Now, the more we're shown of this particular anime adaptation, the more it's looking to be on point. Obviously, anime fans will be quite skeptical when it comes to these live-action adaptations done by Netflix, given its troubled past of failed attempts. But this one, it's a bit different. Now, in comparison to Netflix's Cowboy Bebop series, which saw little to no involvement of its creator, Ichiro Oda was heavily involved in the production of Netflix's One Piece series. In fact, Oda-san wrote this note where he states that he had the Netflix production team reshoot certain scenes he felt just didn't fit into the world he created. Now, from the visuals to the scripted lines, Oda-san was heavily involved in the overall production. And he also mentioned in the note that if there's any gripes people may have with the live-action series, he'll be there to receive it with the rest of the crew. But with the amount of involvement the creator of the One Piece series has had with this series, the Netflix live-action anime adaptation trend of being piss poor might be broken, at least in this instance. In fact, some of the online sentiments of those that have seen it early have been positive, exclaiming the live-action series to be a faithful adaptation of Oda-san's epic pirate tale. And as someone who has been privileged enough to receive early screenings of the series, I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised. It's really good. I think Netflix might have learned from its past mistakes with Cowboy Bebop and made sure the creator of the franchise was actively involved in the entire process to raise, any sort of red flags he might see with the adaptation that would dissuade hardcore fans of the series. Or honestly, it could just be Oda-san being very protective of his baby, One Piece. Now, the anime and manga series has been around for several years now with thousands of entries. There's a lot, the live action series has to live up to and prove to longtime fans. Like the heat for One Piece has never simmered, only increasing with every single new entry, new movie, and new gear. Like the animation in episode 1071 with Luffy kicking it into 5th gear was a certified instant classic, trending for days across the internet. So all this to say that, Netflix's One Piece has a lot to prove to fans, and it just might be the golden standard for the streaming company moving forward with other live action anime adaptations. Now, I want y'all to keep in mind that this is only the beginning. There's still plans for another attempt at a live action adaptation of Death Note, this time with the Duffer Brothers of Stranger Things fame. Now, it'd be amazing if the creator of Death Note were involved in this particular upcoming live action adaptation series, but the identity of that manga artist is shrouded in secrecy, so who knows what their involvement will be. Also, Netflix Japan is handling a live action Yu Yu Hakusho series. based on the images shown off previously of the main cast, I kind of have high hopes for this particular series. It's just been, honestly, it's been such a long time since we've gotten anything Yu Yu Hakusho related that I'm willing to give a live action adaptation a shot. A spirit shot. Yeah, anyways, the one issue I have with these adaptations is it's not easy to adapt these long-running properties without leaving fans wanting more. And if One Piece is a hit on Netflix, how many seasons of the series will we get before the cast age out of their respective roles? Like, Luffy and the crew have looked the same for many years. Like, it's harder to maintain that youthful energy and appearance in live action because we just aren't beholden to the same standards and logic of an anime or manga. Like, Ash Ketchum should be in his 30s by now, but still looks like he's 10. I don't know, but I'd sure love to know your thoughts on One Piece and Netflix's adaptation. Sound off down below. Speaking of Ash Ketchum, Pokemon is getting the live action treatment with a new series that'll air in Japan called Fill Your Pockets with Adventure. Yeah, it's a weird name. Anyways, that's the loose English interpretation of the name. Now, the live action series is actually based in the real world where a creative turns to her favorite childhood game, Pokemon Red, to deal with the struggles of being a career-minded adult in the bustling city of Tokyo. It's a very unique take on the Pokemon series, as we've only seen it adapted within world with protagonists alongside their pocket monsters. Though it does sound similar to the 2017 series Final Fantasy XIV, Dad of Light, which followed a father reconnecting with his adult son while playing the successful MMO. Now, in the first image released by TV Tokyo, we see the lead character rediscovering her Game Boy, probably reminiscing on all the fun she had as a child with the portable device. Fill Your Pockets with Adventure will air in Japan October 19th. Now, fill our comments with your thoughts on the show. All right, now we've got the first promo of Rick and Morty Season 7, where the characters actually talk, delivering new dialogue for fans to hear. Only it's not the ones we're all expecting and anticipating. With it, however, we get a tease as to what we can expect from Season 7 of Rick and Morty. Take a look.
Oh, shit, they're finally asking us to do a promo.
Took them long enough.
Season 7 is gonna be like so epic. Morty might finally date Jessica.
Ooh, maybe Jerry will get a job.
Anything's possible. Old friends like Gearhead might pop up.
Oh, wait, what if Rick catches Rick Prime or Evil Morty?
Or like I build a citadel of summers and forge a summer battalion to crumble the intergalactic patriarchy.
Can we just have a regular low-stakes sitcom season? I'd rather we just got food poisoning or something.
I'd so much rather be glued to the toilet than deal with our regular antics. Anyway, watch Season 7.
You think we did okay?
It's a low bar.
So yeah, Beth and Summer cutting promos for Season 7 of Rick and Morty. Yeah, now Adult Swim is being quite coy about the reveal of the new voices of the titular characters. It's possible they want it to be a massive reveal when the new season premieres October 15th, but it could also be preemptive damage control against fan backlash. Either way, fans expressed their concerns with the way Adult Swim has been handling the entire situation, subtweeting and replying to the promo on Twitter. Now, with the ousting of former voice actor and co-creator Justin Roiland, Rick and Morty fans are eager to find out more about the direction the animation company will be taking with both the show Roiland co-created and the various characters he played. Now, as you know, Roiland was let go by Adult Swim after domestic abuse charges were levied towards him. Now, Hulu also followed in Adult Swim's footsteps, severing ties with the creator in regards to Solar Opposites. Now, the streaming service has since replaced Roiland with actor Dan Stevens. And even though Roiland was cleared of all charges, both Hulu and Adult Swim are moving forward without the creator. So, with the October 15th date approaching, what Rick and Morty fans really want to know is, who did they cast? Like, we do know that they've narrowed in on someone or someones opting to go with sound-alikes, but it's just odd of them to maintain radio silence when it comes to new voices of Rick and Morty. Now, hopefully it's not due to lack of confidence, and it's more of just the network's way of building up hype for the new season. Now just watch. I know what's gonna happen here. They're gonna make Rick and Morty stay speechless for the whole season premiere and then deliver one line of dialogue before the credits roll, just to kind of mess with us. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past them at all. But we'll have to wait and see come October 15th.
A Starfield player stuffed 20,000 potatoes into their ship's cockpit for science and ended up showing off the game's impressive physics. Redditor Muzapan published a clip showing what happened when they opened the door of their cockpit. We see the potatoes realistically spill onto the floor and, perhaps more impressively, move about realistically as they interact with the door itself. Video game tech wizard John Linneman of Digital Foundry took to Twitter to call the clip mind-blowing. He said, "The fact that these objects all have physics is impressive." Bethesda games such as The Elder Scrolls and Fallout are well known for their capacity for item hoarding. Skyrim players in particular are known for collecting cheese, but it looks like Bethesda upped the item physics for Starfield with its virtual potatoes most appealing. Starfield properly launches tomorrow, September 6th, but its early access release has proven hugely popular on Steam and Xbox.
I'm Akeem Lawanson, and that was your weekly fix. Now we'll be back next Saturday with more of the biggest gaming and entertainment news. We'll see you then.